Hello, everyone. Scott Galbraith here, also known as the Great Scott, magician of Boston and major Wahlburgers fan, and no way in any way officially connected to Wahlburgers. I should begin this video with a little introduction to tell you that I am in no way connected to the Wahlburgers brand or the Wahlburgers restaurant in any official capacity. Because some people, by this video or by some other stuff that I've done, might get the impression that I am, and I'm not. I'm just a big fan. I've been a fan of Donnie Wahlberg ever since he was in New Kids on the Block, and I continue to be one to this day when he's on Blue Bloods. And I've become a fan of a lot of the family as well because of the A&E show Wahlburgers. Now, what I wanted to do here was redo a video of me doing the Wahlburgers magic trick that I created, because unfortunately my YouTube account was hijacked a while back, and I wanted to, and one of the casualties of that hijacking was me doing the video. Of course, it's nice that I am re-recording this because this gives me an opportunity to tell you that this is a trick that I have actually done for a couple members of the family now. And one of the highlights was doing this trick for, oh, can't see it with the light there. That's me with Donnie Wahlberg at the Dorchester Ground Breaking. I did this trick for him. I also had a chance to do it for his brother Bob as well. Now, prior to that, I had also done the trick for Brandon Wahlberg, who is the nephew of all the brothers. He's actually the son of Lisa, I believe, one of the daughters who we've not seen on the show. And I also got to do the trick for Arthur, the oldest son, as well. I've met other members of the family. I met Mark really briefly at the Boston grand opening, but not very long. Not that he would ever remember me or anything. But anyway, getting back to this. So I want to tell you, first of all, how this trick came about. Well, for starters, the Wahlburgers magic trick that I created, I didn't completely create it. It's not a totally original trick. You see, many years ago, I found a trick created by a magic company called Ickle Pickle. And they had a trick called Triple Prediction. And it was a trick that involved cards that look like these with pictures of fruit on them, as you can see. Now, I bought this trick, and it has become one of my signature tricks in my regular acts. But I'm one of those people who has a brain that's kind of always thinking and kind of constantly ahead of himself. So one day I'm on the A&E website, and I'm realizing that with the exception of Mark at the time, and exception of a few of the other cast members, most of the bio photos that were on the A&E website for Wahlburgers had a picture of the member of the family just in front of a white background, kind of like the same way those fruits just had a white background. So I called up Ickle Pickle and I said, if I send you pictures from the website, how easy would it be for you to create a triple prediction version with the Wahlberg brothers' faces on them? And he said, no trouble at all. And that is how this trick came to be. And the minute I pulled this out of my pocket one day at Wahlburgers while I was talking to Paul, he literally ran the other direction about 6 feet, shaking his head, came back and said, this kind of stuff was too much for him. And sadly, Paul is one of the people who has not seen the trick to this day. But then again, magic's not for everybody. So since I've been talking about it so much on Twitter and so much on Facebook, this is the trick that I know at least made Donnie Wahlberg laugh. Okay, this is the original Wahlburgers magic trick that I came up with. And this trick, I don't know if it fooled him. I'd like to think it did. I would love to claim this trick amazed Donnie, but I never actually asked if he knew how I did it. The most I can tell you is this trick made Donnie Wahlberg laugh, and here's the way it goes. If you take a look at the pictures on these cards, you'll notice here is Bob Wahlberg. Now, one website referred to him as the unknown actor brother, and the reason they did that is because he really only acts in Boston-based films. He works for the utility company during the day. Anyway, so I'll put him down right there. Next, we have the guy who used to be referred to as the new kid on the block. Of course, he's been around for a while now, so that, of course, would be Donnie right there. Okay, next we have another card featuring Donnie's likeness. Now, people have asked me in the past, why do I have 2 Donnie cards? And the answer is because I'm taking my cues from television. According to television, there is no such thing as too much Donnie Wahlberg. He's got, what, 4 shows now? Maybe only 3, I'm not sure. I haven't seen Donnie Loves Jenny in a while. And then, of course, we have the mastermind behind Wahlburgers, the chef, the South Shore Chef of the Year, I think 5 years in a row running, Mr. Paul Wahlberg. Now, one other person who I've done this trick for since doing it at the groundbreaking is Alma and her friend Phyllis at the Hingham location. They were there one day, and so was I, and they were nice enough to watch this trick. And the very first question Alma asked me right at this point was, where's Mark? And my response was, I couldn't afford him. Anyway, so since Bob is only on the show sometimes, we're going to put Bob right down here in front so that you can all keep an eye on Bob. I got a little stand here that's just out of camera, but you will be able to see the card right there. Leaving us with, of course, Donnie, another card with Donnie on it, and of course, Mr. Paul Wahlberg. So 2 Donnies and 1 Paul. Now, the idea of this trick is to keep your eye on Paul, because if you've ever watched the show, you know that Paul runs around like a crazy man. As a matter of fact, I've met him probably about a half a dozen times, and I don't think we've ever had a conversation that lasted longer than 90 seconds. So anyway, keep your eye on Paul Wahlberg. Now, where is Paul right now? You might say in the middle, and you would be right. There he is right there. Now, let's say I did this right here. Where is he now? You might say in the middle, and you would be right once again. So we'll put him back there. One more time for good luck. We mix up the cards. Where's Paul? The answer is in the middle. Now, if Paul is in the middle, Paul's in the middle. You can all see that, right? Paul Wahlberg is in the middle. If Paul is in the middle, what's on the bottom? Now, when I did this trick for Donnie Wahlberg, he said, well, for the purposes of this trick on the bottom, but I'm never on the bottom. But there he is right there. Okay, so Donnie's on the bottom. Now, if Donnie's on the bottom and Paul is in the middle, what is on the top? And at this point, normally people guess Donnie, and they are normally right. So Donnie is on the top. You know, if I ever do this trick for Jenny McCarthy, she will probably have a joke right there about Donnie being on top. And who does that leave? That's as risque as I get. And who does that leave in the middle? If Donnie's on the top and Donnie's on the bottom, who's in the middle? That, of course, would be Chef Paul. The funny thing is, Chef Paul moves so quickly, you guys didn't see him take the elevator to the basement. I guess he had some food to get down there or something. So if Paul is on the bottom, then where are the 2 Donnie cards? You would think on top, except Paul just ran right up into the roof because he heard there was a leak there that had to be fixed or something. He's always taking care of everything in a restaurant. And then, of course, he runs right back down into the kitchen where he's the most at home. And, of course, no matter how many shows he has or how many family members share a name with him, there's only one Donnie Wahlberg. I think he has a nephew who shares his name, a half-brother who shares his name, and he was named after his father. So at this point, people start to think that I have 4 cards. And my response is usually, of course, I have 4 cards. I've got the 2 Donnies and the Paul I started with, and I have the Bob that we're not using. And they go, no. You're holding more than 3 cards right now. Well, you know, that'd be very easy to do. See, there's a little move magicians do called double lifting, where you hold 2 cards together. See? Can anybody tell me which hand has 2 cards in it? This one or this one? Well, if you guessed this one, you'd be right, because I was holding 2 cards together. This is just 1 card. Now, if I have more than 3 cards in my hand, I can't shake them all. 1, 2, 3. Only 3 cards. Now, at this point, I would ask an audience, who's on this card? And usually they respond either Donnie or Paul. And those who guess Donnie would be correct. And then I ask them, who do you think is on this card? And some say Paul, but most people say the other Donnie. And then they're wrong because, of course, this is Paul. So if this is Donnie right here and this is Paul right here, who do you think is here? Well, when I did this trick for Bob Wahlberg, he said, that's me. And I'm like, no. You are this card right here that we're not using right now. But you know what? He's a Wahlberg. So I said, if you want to be up here, no problem. I'll move you up here. There you are. See? Because after all, he's getting more involved now. He owns a piece of Fenway. So that begs the question, if Bob is up here, then what has been in front of us the entire time? And at this point, most people say, well, that's got to be the other Donnie card. But you want to know why Chef Paul is constantly running around the Wahlburgers restaurant? It's really quite interesting. You see, if you watch the show, more often than not, he has a bottle of Coke right in front of him whenever he's eating. So the guy drinks way too much Coke, unfortunately. But anyway, so that right there is the Wahlburgers magic trick that I got to make Donnie laugh with and got to make Bob laugh and a couple other members of the family. I've yet to show it to Chef Paul. I'm just hoping one day he'll watch it. But anyway, so that's some all magic there for you. Hope you enjoyed it.